Hello everyone, my name is Brian, but you can call me the Bugler, and today we're going to be breaking down the Stormcaller Warlock subclass and the skill tree, the Attunement of the Elements. Let's get started. First up is the melee ability, Rising Storm. Striking an enemy with this attack will partially recharge your super, grenade, and melee energy. It also hits at an extended range of 5 meters, the same as the previous skill tree. After that, we have Landfall. Upon activating your super, you create a devastating shockwave underneath you. After that, we have Electrostatic Surge. When teammates are nearby you, you recharge your rift faster. And finally, we have Arc Soul. Your rift now grants you and any ally that uses it an Arc Soul to aid in battle. Let's take a look at the melee ability first. When you strike an enemy with this melee ability, you will receive 20% energy towards your next melee or grenade cooldown. I will demonstrate this for you right here, and then we'll talk about those numbers specifically in a moment. I'm going to talk about the cooldowns in terms of seconds instead of minutes, in order to make these numbers make a little more sense to you. The Storm and Pulse Grenade have a cooldown of 83 seconds. When you strike an enemy with Rising Storm, you reduce the cooldown by 20%, so down to 66.4 seconds. Arc Bolt Grenades have a cooldown of 60 seconds. Striking an enemy reduces that down to 48 seconds. And the melee ability has a cooldown of 94 seconds, but that is again reduced to 75.2 seconds. Let's move on to the super energy granted when you strike an enemy with this attack. You gain 7% of your super energy every time you strike an enemy with this. This super has a base cooldown of 400 seconds, or 6 minutes and 40 seconds. One melee attack reduces this to 372 seconds, or 6 minutes and 12 seconds. This amounts to a 28-second reduction for every single melee attack. Okay, so now that we have our super back, let's see how far we can actually take this skill. If every time we strike an enemy, we gain 7% of our super back, and we factor in the cooldowns of this melee ability, we can work out the lowest amount we can bring our super down to without killing a single enemy fairly easy. But I'll let the footage show you. Because of the lengthy cooldown of our melee ability, we can only use it 4 times during the cooldown of our super. Each hit will reduce the cooldown of the super by 7%, multiplied by 4 hits, gives us a 28% total cooldown reduction. We take 28% of 400 seconds, the base cooldown, to give us 288 seconds, or 4 minutes and 48 seconds. This is the lowest amount of time that you could get your super to without killing a single enemy. It's not quite as good as the Gunslinger Hunter, but it's still pretty good. Alright, let's move on to Landfall. Upon casting Storm Trance, you will fire a bolt of lightning at the ground and create a devastating shockwave underneath you. The amount of damage that this shockwave does is actually tied to the normal lightning attack that you can use during your Storm Trance. Let's take a look at those numbers now. At between 1 and 2 meters, you will deal the max amount of damage for the Landfall, at 4.16 times the lightning attacks that come after it. The damage starts to fall off quickly though. At 3 meters, you'll deal 4 times, at 4 meters, it'll be 3 times, at 5 meters, 2 times, and that is where it falls off dramatically. Between 6 and 7, you will deal minimum damage, less than 1 times the damage of each lightning strike afterwards. At 7 meters, that's where you will see the end of this damage, at less than 0.5 times to eventually 0. But we can do better than simply damaging enemies. You're a warlock after all. Any enemy that is hit by the landfall, no matter how much damage it is, including those at the 7-meter fall-off range, will become blinded for 6 seconds, just like the Striker Titan's flashbang grenade. Those blinded will become vulnerable and unable to defend themselves or attack you. Easy pickings for us. Okay, but how far can we shoot that lightning bolt down? The description says we shoot the bolt of lightning at the ground, but what if there's no ground underneath us? Well, when you activate it very high up in the air, you can only shoot the bolt down about 30 meters. Any enemy that is near that explosion will still receive the damage, however, the bolt won't continue to travel downward. Okay, let's move on to electrostatic surge. Your rift recharges faster when allies are near. When the skill says allies, it means anyone, those in your fire team and those not in your fire team. When I was testing this skill, I had difficulties determining what the actual cooldowns were, and that's because people were activating this skill without me even knowing it. You need to be within 15 meters of your teammates in order for the skill to work, and you get affected by up to 3 separate teammates. That's the maximum. Anything over 3 teammates will not affect your cooldowns. We're going to look at those numbers now. In the situation that I'm about to present to you, I'm participating in a public event in which 4 players are within my electrostatic surge range. I did not observe an increase from when I only had 3 people within the range, so I can assume that 3 people is the max. The base cooldown for the rift is 83 seconds. With 1 person, we get it down to 74 seconds, a 10.8% increase. With 2 people, we get it down to 69 seconds, or 16.8% increase, and with 3 people, we get it down to 65 seconds, or a 21.6% increase in cooldown rate. This skill is a lot more effective than I thought it would be, and it works very well with our next skill, Arc Soul. This skill grants you or any ally that uses your rift an Arc Soul to aid in battle. Let's take a closer look. Your Arc Soul will spawn as soon as you place your rift down, and has a duration of 8 seconds. As long as you stay within that rift, the timer will not count down. So we have a maximum of 23 seconds with 1 rift, because the rift lasts for 15 seconds. If you step into a teammate's rift who is also using Arc Soul, it will regenerate the duration of your Arc Soul as well. It also shoots bursts of arc damage every 2 seconds, and will automatically target enemies within 30 meters. The Arc Soul does some pretty cool things when it comes to damaging enemies. We can actually choose which target the Arc Soul shoots at. All we have to do is aim at an enemy, and the Arc Soul will switch the priority for the enemies it's shooting at. Otherwise, it will just shoot at the enemy that is closest to you within the 30-meter range. But the fun doesn't have to stop there. Oh no. You see, you can use your Sparrow with Arc Soul in order to shoot while you're driving. And when you re-enter your rift, you will replenish the duration of your Arc Soul. So if you have to make a quick getaway, this is a great way to cover yourself while moving. It's also interesting to note that it works with every vehicle available in Destiny 2, as well as the Sparrow. And that's the end of this breakdown. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about how I conducted the tests, or why I might not have included other footage, you can let me know in the comments so I could answer them for you. This video in particular had a lot of footage left out, because I did all my distance measurements during the raid in order to work with enemies who weren't moving. I don't want to include that footage just yet because the raid isn't out on PC, and I don't want to spoil anybody. In my next video, I'm going to be covering the grenades as well as a super comparison for one of the 3 subclasses I have left. I've got the Dawnblade, the Arcstrider, and finally the Stormcaller. I think I'm going to do them in that order. As per usual, I'll be going live on Twitch in about an hour to an hour and a half for my post-video Q&A. If you'd like to follow me on Twitch, you can check the description of this video for that link. So once again, thanks for watching, I hope I see you next time, and good luck getting through the exclusion zone.